Afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining. We'll be with you shortly. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our session on leveraging ADCMS technology to differentiate yourself and win work. We're excited to show you how you can elevate your competitive game, so let's jump right in. But first, a couple obligatory formalities. During the session, you will be muted, so no need to worry about any embarrassing hot mic scenarios. Got a question? Pop it into the Q&A section at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we'll do our best to get you an answer throughout the session. Finally, the session will be recorded so you can relive it in all of its glory over and over again, like it's your favorite sitcom rerun. My name is Michael Helm. I'll be one of your co-hosts for today. Over the past 7 years, I've helped infrastructure owners and their consulting engineers tap into the value of incorporating ADCMS technology into their project delivery toolkit.
And I'm Nate Binder. I've worked in marketing for Infotech for the past 7 years, so I'll be taking you all through a communication and branding exercise. But I've also had the privilege of talking to many of our customers in various case studies and podcasts over the years. So I've learned a good deal about how they use ADCMS technology as a key differentiator. And you'll just have to bear with my voice. I was celebrating on Broad Street on Sunday night, and I think, some of Philadelphia's finest shared some of their germs with me. So Michael Jordan flu game for me today.
We are at a very exciting point in the history of the heavy civil industry. There's tons of funding coming into the industry, which means more projects and more opportunities, but also more competition. There's market consolidation going on with larger firms buying up smaller firms to access markets they didn't have access to before. And while past experience is important, how are you going to stand out and show that you're the best to manage the projects of tomorrow? There's essentially two paths here: growth or death.
So, an advanced digital construction management system it's a relatively recent term from FHWA that refers to digital technologies for management of construction and engineering activities. Essentially, anything that's capturing project data in a digital format and making it easier to report on that data, share it with other departments, use it to feed into the asset lifecycle. We used to just say digital project delivery. Now we have this long acronym, but as this Dilbert cartoon suggests, sometimes that's just the way things go in this industry. So Infotech created an ADCMS called Appia in 2007, and it's evolved over the years to become a fully cloud-based solution that integrates with other platforms in areas like bidding or GIS. So as we talk about ADCMS functionality that you want to be marketing throughout this presentation, if you're using Appia, it will already apply to you. And if you're using a homegrown system or a different platform, not every feature is going to be one-to-one, but much of this will still apply to how you want to message your use of that software. So I want to get into a few of the things that we'll be covering throughout this presentation. And if you guys could do something for me, just so I can get a gauge of the audience, on the bottom of the screen, you'll see the abilities to react with emojis. So I'd love with you to react with the emoji of your choice if either of these questions resonate with you. If you found yourself asking them or been asked them yourself. So the first is a question that we hear a lot. Am I losing value by being more efficient? In a business based on billable hours, what are the impacts of being 2 times, 3 times, 4 times as efficient on your projects? And then how do you effectively communicate that added value to your potential clients? That's a large part of this presentation, not just the what that you should communicate, but the how. So we'll share some stats, we'll do an exercise in a little bit that should help with that. But first, we want to share a couple of quick quotes that we've heard from our users that demonstrate how this technology can be an effective marketing tool, just to underscore that this is something that the competition is already out there doing. So this is a quote from Joe Warino. We think ADCMS differentiates our team and wins us work. This is actually from the first case study I ever did here about 6 years ago. Joe is at CTL Engineering now, but he's expressed a similar sentiment there that an ADCMS is part of the winning formula for AEC firms. And then this is from our partners at CNS Companies. We use it as a marketing tool. We went into a $60 million Cincinnati runway rehab project and showed them how we would be doing it in Appia, and they were very impressed. It's added value that we're providing to our clients. This is from a case study we did with them as well. And there's a second part of this quote where Greg shared that this technology is also saving them over $100,000 a month in travel expenses thanks to real-time data sharing. So it's that twofold of you're offering a better deliverable to your clients and you're saving money while doing it. And then Mike will get into the last example here.
Yeah, so on the same topic of translating cost savings into more competitive proposals, many years ago, a veteran construction supervisor for a consultant customer of ours was asked for a cost estimate for the construction inspection for a project. He prepared two estimates. One included the cost of their ADCMS solution, and the second one was their traditional estimate using spreadsheets and paper. He presented the first one to the client, and the client agreed as long as he crossed out the line for the cost of the software. At that point, the consultant pulled back the first estimate and handed the client the second estimate using the traditional CE&I practices with paper and spreadsheets. And the client questioned it, why the cost of the second proposal was higher. And the consultant just explained that the difference was in the personnel time spent manually tracking projects that would be saved by leveraging ADCMS solution. Needless to say, the client ended up taking the first proposal. Now, as it relates to these types of tools versus paper, the difference that ADCMS solutions can deliver is both in the tangible and the intangible aspects of project management practices. Entering project data directly into a centralized system of record eliminates the risk of transcription errors, copying from one place to another. Mobile inspections means that data is captured at the source as work is completed, eliminating the need to transcribe paper notes into spreadsheets. Project stakeholders can collaborate on live data that's accessible from anywhere, ensuring top-notch communication and decision-making off live project data. And overall, your project record keeping and reporting workflows are all but automated thanks to embedded intelligence. Now, the purpose of today's presentation is not necessarily to convince you of the value of ADCMS technology. You're already here, which tells us that you see the value. The goal is to help you take the value propositions of these solutions and use them to formulate the pitch that you'll make to your clients as to how you're different from all the other consultants submitting proposals. And all of the risk reduction, the efficiencies, the collaboration, and the transparency that you bring to the table because you leverage this technology in your approach to project management.
So over the next few slides, we're going to run through the specific benefits that you should be messaging to your clients if you are using an ADCMS. We recommend taking this messaging and tweaking it to apply to your process, your client's needs, etc. After a merge, we're going to send out an editable presentation that has all of this information on it, and you can just tweak the language and pop your logo on it. So there's no need to take notes. Just think about how to include this messaging in your pitches and how to make it the most effective and persuasive for your clients.
All right, so let's start off with the topic of risk. One of your primary charges as an engineering consultant is to minimize risk exposure for your clients' projects. But traditionally, very little's ever been done to minimize the risk of error with project data. When employing ADCMS tools on your clients' projects, make sure you drive home how critical it is for project data to be captured digitally from the very beginning. This is going to add value to your offerings by creating a high confidence source of truth for project data, ensuring absolute accuracy of contractor payments thanks to automated quantity calculations, and the ultimate level of stakeholder collaboration with up-to-date project data, minimizing the risk of miscommunications. One of our CE&I firm clients out in Texas had a time extension claim come up that they were able to resolve in minutes without even second guessing themselves, thanks to instantly searchable inspection data. They said in their quote, "We had a project go to claim on a time issue, and we had to see how much time impacted the contractor due to weather. With the search function in our ADCMS, I can go in and say weather days and just quickly pull up the report. And that helped with the claim process."
So another thing that you can pop into a pitch deck and share with prospective clients is the efficiency of inspections, or the inspector gadget factor. This technology can capture data out in the field and share it back to the office in real time. I say real time. Some people also say near time. I think that's what's on here as well, because it's not instantaneous, but it is a matter of seconds or at worst minutes. And this is a huge cost and time saver for you and your clients because inspectors don't need to travel back and forth to enter data. There's often no need to maintain a field office. And since Appia integrates with Trimble and Leica rovers, you can be more efficient with your staff time and have inspectors capture survey data or vice versa. So this is a quick PSA that we put together that promotes that cloud-based inspection functionality. And more than anything, it's a reminder to have fun with your marketing. You know, we do work in a serious industry. People's quality of life and sometimes even their lives depend on the work that you do. But that doesn't mean we can't have a little fun with our messaging to make it more memorable. Seth Godin is an expert marketer, and he wrote a book in 2003 called Purple Cow that I think is still relevant today. And it's a very simple idea. If you were driving and you passed a purple cow while you were driving, you would remark on it. Personally, I remark on every cow I pass, like it's the first time I ever saw a cow when I'm driving. But a purple cow would be especially noteworthy. So you want your marketing to be worthy of remark and stand out in some way to capture attention. And that's what we were trying to achieve with this PSA here. And I'll give it a quick play.
It's 4 in the afternoon. Do you know where your inspectors are? If they're sitting at a computer next to you, transcribing daily report information from a field book, you may have a spreadsheet problem. Signs of spreadsheet addiction can include spending too much time in the office instead of the field to enter data, making calculation errors and typos after a long day of inspections, and pervasive nightmares about being stuck in a maze of cells, columns, and rows. If you're starting to recognize these signs in your construction administration team, don't worry, it's not too late to reach out for help. Appia is designed specifically for spreadsheet rehabilitation.
So you get the point. We don't need to stick with the Appia pitch there, but that is something that we heard from clients a lot, and we tried to turn it into a fun little PSA. And again, budget-wise, this was pretty affordable to put together stock footage and narration. So with limited resources, you can put together some pretty creative marketing for your services.
It's 4 in the afternoon. Do you know?
I was ready to watch it again. I loved it. Now, we've touched on collaboration a couple of times now, but because it's so important to construction success, we're going to give it its own slide. As the CE&I consultant, you serve as the integration point between all of the project stakeholders, and you have to show that you can effectively manage those relationships and seamlessly coordinate all project activities. So show your clients that ADCMS solutions that you use make this effortless. Assure them that with the fact that your project managers have a live view of construction activities as the inspector logs them, catching issues before they become expensive complications is instant. Give them the autonomy to answer their own questions on project progress by giving them access to reporting features. And then show that you're the ultimate partner by also giving your contractors limited access to daily quantities to stay on the same page of what's being recorded and avoid lengthy payment disputes. Another quick campfire story for you on this topic. A construction manager for the city of Terre Haute, Indiana, said that when our ADCMS came about and read-only access was free, I thought, well, why don't I just give our clients access and then have them go in and find out themselves the answers to their questions? So it saved me a bunch of time since I don't have to look up answers for them. This quote was just a perfect example of the convenience factor and the speedy answers that your clients can enjoy while also saving you time getting them answers. Now, the level of success or stress that you experience at project closeout is determined by the quality of your record-keeping practices. And any respectable ADCMS solution should have a robust digital audit trail and reporting functions that ensure your clients and auditors will always have a clear picture of what actually took place during construction. And this is especially important when questions, claims, or audits come up where your audit trail is your client's last defense. So give your clients the peace of mind that you're ensuring maximum protection by making your project data instantly searchable to find evidence needed to thwart those claims or disprove legal fault. Having readily exportable packages to streamline delivering data to auditors and quickly secure that reimbursement for your clients. And then finally, show that you have the robust reporting capability to provide them the data that they need in mere moments, as opposed to time-consuming manual spreadsheet reporting processes. The Texas CE&I firm that I mentioned earlier also saw benefits in this area, and they said, our ADCMS maintains all of the project items, inspection reports, and change orders all in one place to help the reporting process be just more convenient. Now, there are tons of project management solutions out there, but there are also tons of types of projects to be managed. So how can you be sure a solution is right for your projects? You need to ask yourself a few questions. Is it designed specifically to meet the needs of owners overseeing horizontal infrastructure construction projects? Factors like quantity tracking, unit price contracting, material approvals, and fund tracking, and indisputable audit preparedness are just a couple must-haves. Does it completely digitize and completely integrate the various aspects of my projects, or does it leave gaps? If your ADCMS is bookended with paper-based project bidding and document approvals, you're breaking even at best. And does my solution support interoperability to prepare me for the future of construction? GIS is permeating every aspect of public infrastructure, and leveraging it in construction to create digital as-built is one of the first key steps on the road towards BIM for infrastructure and digital twins. Now, I mentioned audit preparedness a moment ago. Infotech recently produced a webinar and an accompanying white paper on ensuring your projects are defended against audit mishaps, and also how ADCMS makes it 1,000 times easier. Now, I won't go into the details here because we cover it pretty extensively, but if you want to learn more, scan one of the QR codes here on the screen. I'll leave it up for a few more seconds for either the webinar, the ebook, or both, and then bookmark those for later. All right, we'll move right along. So to give you some examples of considering the right tool for the job, let's start with generic project management solutions. They typically lack construction-specific functionality, leaving unaddressed needs and manual workflows. They also lack integrations with other construction industry solutions, which means your construction data becomes a silo of its own. ADCMS solutions that take interoperability seriously are going to open up your data to support asset lifecycle management strategies. Now, if we zoom into the category of construction-specific project management solutions, there's even more to consider. Many ADCMS solutions on the market are built for a specific stakeholder, like contractors. And those tools will meet their needs well, but they fall short of meeting owner-specific needs. And a perfect example of this is fund tracking. Owners funding projects with mixed local, state, or federal sources need to know how much is being paid from each bucket so that they know how much to invoice for reimbursement. Contractors do not care about how the project is funded. The financial aspect that they primarily care about are minimizing costs, maximizing productivity, and getting paid. Now, you also have to consider the type of projects that you'll be managing for your clients. Design, bid, build is the predominant contracting vehicle for civil infrastructure, and I don't have to tell you how complex contract administration can be for these unit price contracts. But for most other solutions, this is just an afterthought. Tools originally built for vertical construction do great with managing lump sum contracts, but when you try to apply them on projects with unit price contracts, managing item quantities for payment amounts is typically still very heavily manual. So to visualize this idea, here's how Infotech's ADCMS tool Appia automates this. Projects are preloaded with the contracted unit prices and quantities so that as inspectors log pay item quantities in their daily reports, Appia is automatically tallying these up and then instantly updating all of the project's financial records, like your item history reports, your material histories, and progress payments. All of this is just to say two main things. Drive these points home with your clients to show them that you're taking a well thought out, specialized approach for their projects, and then choose the right tool for the right job. Be careful with sacrificing function for cost savings, because in the long run, time savings and risk reduction of those specialized features will more than pay for themselves. Now, for many local agencies, bid management is also a major pain point due to the unique requirements surrounding public works construction project bidding. This presents an opportunity for all you consultants to expand the services that you offer. Between federal requirements like bid analysis, state-specific bidding laws, and the complexity of long item lists, there's peace of mind for locals in having an experienced consultant handle this process for them. Solutions that take this into account and integrate the bidding workflows will make it effortless for engineering consultants to manage more of the asset lifecycle for their clients. And this plays into that concept earlier of growth versus death. There's a well-known principle in sales and account management that it's easier to capture more business from your existing clients due to the strength of the relationship and trust that you've already built, as opposed to going after new clients who don't know you as well. In addition to pursuing more CE&I contracts with the same client, bundling your CE&I services with bidding services is a great strategy to increase your revenue per contract. Now, if you're an infotech client, this couldn't be easier. Appia directly integrates with our e-bidding solution, Bid Express, for seamless flow of bid results into Appia, where you then analyze the bids and award a contractor the contract. And the awarded bidder's prices are then used in construction to administer the contract and generate pay estimates. And just like Appia, Bid Express streamlines and automates much of the day-to-day administrative activities involved with project bidding, which can smooth out that learning curve should you decide to start offering bid management services. Now, how you handle the documentation your ADCMS solution generates is just as important as the documentation itself. Tools with robust document organization and approval workflows ensure that your clients' records are centralized in the cloud for clients and stakeholders to access from anywhere, that all stakeholders can seamlessly collaborate remotely, and that documents are automatically pushed through their approval workflows for faster approvals. Now, all of this can be communicated to your clients as ways that you're maximizing visibility for all stakeholders and minimizing delays for your clients. Now, continuing the theme of integrations, geo-enabling your construction data is another innovative way that you can differentiate yourself by maximizing transparency and streamlining asset handoff. By linking your construction data that you collect to your client's GIS database, not only can you custom build dashboards and maps of project progress for internal and public information, but you're also creating digital as-built data that will seamlessly sync into your client's GIS environment to inform asset management decisions downstream. Now, the example on the screen here is a GIS dashboard being fed directly from data in Infotech's Appia solution.
Okay, so up to this point, we've talked a lot about messaging and the different benefits that you can incorporate into your marketing messages. But just as important as those qualitative arguments is the quantitative data. So in this section, we're going to talk about some stats that you can use, different ways to determine ROI and time efficiencies. And then Mike, who is much stronger on the math side of things than I am, is going to take you through a BYOS, or bring your own statistics exercise. So these are just some stats that we've collected from our customers over the years. They may not be ubiquitous to every customer, but we do see these efficiencies come up consistently when we're talking to folks. So first, file research reduction. A client calls you, wants to know some information about project progress. If you're not using an ADCMS, boy, am I getting tired of saying ADCMS, but we're going to keep doing it. This is time consuming, and you have to bill them for the hours it takes to dig up. Versus a platform like Appia, you can just search for what you need or even provide stakeholders direct access to the platform. Data entry, we talked about this a bit already with inspections, but data entry typically needs to only happen once out in the field with an ADCMS, which is a huge time saver. Travel, I mentioned this figure at the top when sharing the quote from Greg Furman from CNS Companies. Tying into that reduced need to travel back to the office, it's more time for your inspectors to be doing what they're meant to do, be out in the field inspecting projects. So if you wanted, you could just lift these statistics, drop them into an RFP or a pitch deck, and explain why you're charging, say, an extra 10K for the use of something like Appia, because of the time and financial savings it will provide in the long run, the greater deliverable as well. And then that last 87% efficiency increase for inspection process statistic is from a case study we did with the Minnesota DOT that is about the use of an ADCMS, but also paired with our Trimble rover integration. So that's just another way to take those efficiencies even further. So we developed a calculator that takes time spent on typical tasks into account and shows how it can be reduced with Appia. We built this obviously as a marketing tool for Infotech and our solutions, but I think it could also be helpful from your perspective as you try to gauge how much more efficient you can be with your time. We'll run through it really quick just so you can see how it works, and you'll see a lot of it is built on the statistics I just mentioned. So if you open it up, and I believe Shannon is going to throw it into the chat for us, or we'll send it out after if you don't have access to it. You'll open it up, you'll put in some simple information. What's your name? How many projects do you manage? How many employees do you have? Different, roles on the project and things like that. And then you'll answer some quick questions about, are you using mobile devices? How often do you encounter errors on readily available project data or errors or omissions in project documentation? And then some loose estimates on data entry time spent, travel time spent, research and hunting down on files. And sometimes that time we know stacks up at the end of the project. It may not be throughout the project, but it may be a full weekend of work to close out a project in a timely manner. So we'll take those loose estimates, we put some conservative estimates in here, and then it'll share some ROI stats about how much time you can save by reducing travel entirely or by having that instantaneous search functionality. So this is just a tool that you can use to get a loose sense if maybe you're already using an ADCMS and you want to get some estimates that you haven't been keeping track of, or maybe you're thinking about switching to one and you want to get a sense of how much time you could save. This is a good tool to do that with. And then
Yes, as Nate mentioned earlier, we're going to look at examples of building your own savings stats. And he also alluded to you that math was also always my favorite subject in school. So I'm going to take us through some math lessons, some quick algebra, just to show you how you can build unique stats to show your level of efficiency and quality compared to the competition. So the formula you'll use for this is for any given activity, take the number of resources involved in that activity times the hourly rate for that resource times the time spent on that activity to get your total cost for performing that activity. Consider where your ADCMS solution is either saving you time or decreasing your resource allocation, and calculate your total cost before and after. And then the difference between those two figures is your savings. So let's run through a couple of quick specific examples. With traditional paper and spreadsheets, each daily report typically takes over 2 hours a day, from completion to transcription and filing. With an ADCMS solution, this is reduced to only 15 minutes a day. So for a typical project of 120 working days with inspection reports and a $40 hourly inspector rate, this comes out to a savings of $9,000 per project, just on the time spent with inspection reports alone. And some factors that actually increase these savings are the size of your project, how many daily reports are done over the course of the project, the amount of field data to be collected in the field. If there's more data collection requirements, that's more time logging that data. And then, of course, the number of inspectors on the project. If you have larger projects with multiple inspectors, you're doubling that time or tripling the time based on how many inspectors you have dedicated to that project. For the contractor pay app review, we hear that this can take project managers over 24 working hours to compile those pay quantities for a pay period, compare them to the contractor's pay application, and then draft the payment report and route that for approval. With an ADCMS solution, this is drastically reduced to just over 5 hours. And using the same project example from before with 6 progress payments and a $60 hourly project manager rate, this comes out to a savings of $7,290 per project, just on the time spent processing monthly payments. And again, some factors that increase this are going to be the scope of your project, the complexity of the contracts and accounting practices for this project, and then if there's poor documentation happening on paper and spreadsheets, having to hunt down those figures manually. Now, the right ADCMS solution should have the embedded intelligence to know how these processes should work and then automate them for you to significantly streamline your everyday workflows and save your project stakeholders countless hours throughout the project. These time savings can either be passed on to your clients in the form of a more competitive price proposal, or you can use them to justify premium pricing since you're delivering a higher quality service. Either way, your team's becoming more efficient, allowing you to do more with your existing resources and take on more projects. And I'm sure everyone here would agree that you'd rather take the path of growth over the path of death.
All right, so this is the big question when we teased at the beginning. You used to charge a client 4 hours for something, and now it takes you 30 minutes. Are you losing out on revenue if you adopt an ADCMS? So first and foremost, if something that used to take 4 hours now only takes 30 minutes, that means you can do 8 times as much work as you could before. I'm pretty sure that's right. Like I said, Mike is the math one. But we talked about growth and death, and this is also the path of growth. Secondly, the idea isn't to rack up as much busy work as possible. It's to deliver the best possible project, which is what you can tell your clients when you charge them more, which is my third point. If you're using an ADCMS like Appia, for example, you can charge more for your services because you're not giving your client a spreadsheet or a physical folder or a flash drive. You're giving them data in an intuitive hub that they can access as they see fit. You're giving them federal review ready reports. You're giving them asset management ready GIS data. You're giving them a higher quality deliverable because you can manage projects more efficiently, effectively, and collaboratively. If you don't believe me, there are plenty of examples of companies who charge more for what their audience views as a high quality product. Cheez-Its, one of the greatest snacks on the planet. I ate a Cheez-It. I wake up feeling the cheesiest. I'm having a great time. And I will gladly pay the extra $1.89, whatever it is, to skip out on the alternative, the baked cheese crackers that they sell at like, Aldi's. To me, those taste a lot closer to cardboard than cheese. Coca-Cola. There's only one secret formula. So you can get the value pack of Sam's Cola, RC Cola, whatever. At the end of the day, you're drinking someone else's best attempt at what they think Coca-Cola should taste like, and they're usually not getting close. I try to watch my sugar. I'm a big Olipop fan, but I skip their Coca-Cola variety because all it does is remind me what Coke, like it makes me wish I was drinking a real Coke, although they do have a great root beer. And then the biggest one, Heinz. They've built entire marketing campaigns on the differences in tastes between their name brand and the competitors. And you look at the ingredients, they're basically the same. Tomato paste, water, salt, some of that delicious high fructose corn syrup. But we all know that Heinz is the superior product. And it's kind of the same with an ADCMS. You're giving your client the same deliverable, the same data, but you're at a much higher quality, at a much higher convenience factor. So shouldn't the price correspond? I am curious if anyone else has any brands where they insist on going with the name brand, feel free to throw them in the chat. Because I'm always looking curious about uh, brand loyalty, and it looks like we got some Dr. Pepper advocates in there as well. Yeah, there's no good Mr. Pibb, miss me with that. Okay, so comes down to these three questions. Do you want to bill your clients for busy work or for a higher quality deliverable? Can you increase your capacity to take on more projects? And can you charge a premium for the quality of the deliverable? Those are the questions you should be asking yourself when you consider ADCMS adoption. So we're going to go through, we talked about stats, we've talked about the what in messaging. Let's do a quick exercise on the how. I think this is a good use of time because sometimes you'll get so far down the road and all the things you can offer a client, a lot of things that we've reviewed here today, that you forget to concisely state what you can offer up front. So this will be a quick exercise to create a value proposition based on three simple components. Tagline, that's what you do. And it's important here to be specific, to bring in adjectives. If you're a smaller firm, maybe you provide boutique engineering services, or if you're a massive firm, you probably have a lot of this figured out already if you're a giant firm, but maybe you offer a comprehensive array of engineering services. Your value prop, how do you solve the customer's problem? What problem are you solving, and how do you make your client's day better? Chances are they hired you because they either don't have the staff to do the project themselves between the quantity or experience. So maybe you act as an extension of an agency's team. And then differentiator, how you differ from the competition. And this is where you can bring in a lot of what we talked about today with ADCMS technology. You can say that your work is powered by the latest in construction management technology, or that you offer your customers an active window into project progress through real-time data access. So Again, tagline, what you do, value prop, how you solve your customer's problem, differentiator, how you differ from the competition. So here's an example just for Infotech. What we do, we streamline construction administration and inspection. Our value proposition, we automate time-consuming manual processes. Our differentiator, we're built specifically for state and locally funded infrastructure projects. So you take these three ingredients and you combine them. You don't have to go one, two, three. You can mix it up and find what sounds best to you. So for Infotech, built specifically for state and locally funded infrastructure projects, Appia streamlines construction administration and inspection by automating time-consuming manual processes. Your example could be something like ABC Consulting's comprehensive array of engineering services are powered by the latest in construction management technology. As an extension of your own resources, we offer our clients an active window into project progress via real-time data access. So you guys will be better at this than I am at figuring out the messaging narrative that works best for you. So take some time and just remember, it's a combination of tagline, what you do, value prop, how you solve your customer's problem, and differentiator, how you differ from the competition. And we'll send out a little document with these three things on it if you want to play around with that after Emerge reps.
All right, thanks, Nate. We're going to open things up now for Q&A. If you have a question, please post it in that Q&A section at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We'll answer as many of them as we can get to with the time remaining. If you posted a question in the chat, I haven't been able to keep up. Someone from our team may have already responded with an answer, but if not, we'll try to catch those too. But your best chance of getting your question answered is through the Q&A feature through Zoom. So let's see here. Nate, do you want to answer some of the questions that we've gotten so far?
Yeah, Mike, we have one here. So we've talked a lot about obviously ADCMS, adoption and how to message that. But this question here, how do you compete against other firms that are also using ADCMS technology? So if you're using Appia, highlight the specific industry features that we mentioned for horizontal unit price contracts. And if not, it's going to come down to the effectiveness of your messaging and marketing. So refine that value proposition, sprinkle in some creativity where possible, see if you can, track your stats and get accurate stats that show those quantitative efficiencies. Because if you're offering essentially the same deliverable, then your marketing is what's going to differentiate you.
I'll take the next one, Nate.
Yeah.
Says, are there specific training resources for owners that we want to grant read-only access to? Yes. So specific to Appia, we have a robust Zendesk support section, and we also have implementation experts that can customize training to your needs. Actually, Shayna Scott, who you have seen posting throughout the chat today, she's on our customer success team, and she's one of the individuals that could help you directly with supporting your clients, picking up, how to access their project data through Appia. So if you need help, post that in the chat. We'll have someone reach out to you.
Got a question here about some of the integrations we mentioned in the chat. Are these integrations mentioned in the presentation included with a subscription? Doc Express, yes, is included with the description, the document management one, as well as Mobile Inspector, which is our mobile app extension for Appia. BidExpress can be free if you charge vendors to submit bids. You can also pay for it yourself and make your vendors bid submission for free. And then use of the integration is free. So it's free to use BidExpress and Appia together. And then the Esri integration just requires that you have an existing Esri subscription.
Great questions. Okay, I'll take, I think the last one we have here. I've tried to make the case for adopting something like this for our firm, but leadership was not invested. How can I make the case to them? Well, I mean, a lot of the same points that we covered today on how you'd pitch this to your clients are the same points that you should make to your leadership, not just how it makes you and your team more efficient and effective, but how that'll impact your clients and their trust in you and set you apart from the competition. So if you need help with making that case to leadership, reach out to Nate or I, post a question in the chat again, and we'll be happy to work with you to build the business case and in a way that's personalized for your specific situation. All right, that's the last question we have. So now for your party favors, to show you our appreciation for you attending today, we're going to be providing you all with a toolkit to actually put today's lessons into your proposals. This toolkit includes an editable presentation deck that you can personalize with your branding and any other specific stats or pitches that you want to make, the ROI benchmark calculator that Nate walked us through earlier, and the examples of the value proposition exercise that we ran through earlier so you can build your own. Use these, share these, tell us what you come up with. We'd love to hear your stories and how you're using this information. And then for more insights on ADCMS technology advancements, stay tuned for our next session, Understanding FHWA's Advancing BIM for Infrastructure Roadmap and How It Impacts Locals with Terry Klein. It's guaranteed to be a highlight of the day. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, y'all.